this morning. So tune in. You're going to want to stay through the whole thing. This is important. Good morning on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube. How are you? Happy Friday. Today's conversation is about why you must guard your mind. This is so critically important. Good morning, Lisa. It's early where you are. I'm so glad you're here. Hopefully this is a good little morning inspiration and pep talk for you. Good morning. I'm going to butcher the pronunciation of your name, Amakrene. I hope I got that right. Anyway, we're talking today about why you must guard your mind. And if you're coming in on Facebook, LinkedIn, pop a comment in. Let me know that you're here. That's how I see you. This is so incredibly important. So I'm going to tell you a story, and then I'm going to tell you how to do this and why this is so important. So your mind is this amazing tool that we're just not taught how to use in school. You know, we're taught all the intellectual stuff. We're taught like, here's the history of where you live, and here's how you do math. But you're never taught how to use this most incredible tool that you have been given that literally will create for you whatever reality you focus on. And this is why it is so important. And your subconscious mind specifically is designed that whatever you emotionalize, whatever you think about repeatedly does become your reality. It's how it works. And I'm going to do more trainings on like the neuroscience behind this as we go, because this is really fascinating stuff. Oh, hey, Charlie, good morning. I'm so glad you're here. But so it is designed to give you whatever you focus on. What that means is that whatever you listen to, watch, focus on, and think about repeatedly and start to feel the emotions of literally will become your reality. And that is whether it's good or bad. Your mind is agnostic. It's like the soil on the earth, right? You can plant corn or you can plant nightshade. It doesn't matter, right? One is going to provide food and substance, and the other is very deadly, but the soil is agnostic. Whatever gets planted in it must come up. It is exactly the same with your mind, okay? It is exactly the same with your mind. And I used to be someone who asked everyone's opinion of what I was doing. And it was very much like my little girl, like seeking approval energy. I don't know if you guys, I know we've got both men and women here this morning. So good morning. I'm so glad you're here, whoever you are. But can you relate to this? Like, are you someone who used to seek the opinion of everyone around you? And that was something that I did for so many years, especially if I was going to make a big move, or I felt called to do something that would get me out of my comfort zone. I would go and ask the opinion of my parents. I would ask the opinion of people I worked with. But when I started studying the mind and how it works, and then I realized that everything in our lives is simply a direct reflection of the way that we think. And I started looking at the realities of the people who I was going and asking their opinions of. I thought, why do I want their feedback? They haven't created what I'm looking to create. So of course they're going to say, this is a bad idea. Or of course they're going to say, I can't do it. So why am I going and asking the opinions of people who have not done the thing that I want to do, that I'm feeling called to do? And it is not a I'm better than you type of energy. That's not what I'm talking about, because I think each of us is here having our own experience. But if I desire a certain experience, I need to get the opinion of someone who's already had that experience so they can give me mentorship and guidance. So if you've been following my story at all, you know that last year I felt called to really step up in a bigger way, especially in terms of how much money I was bringing in. And part of that was I'd been kind of like in the lows, and I'm just sharing dollars just for context. This applies no matter what the dollar amount is, these principles, but just for context, I'd been in the low six figures for years and years and years, longer than I know. And I started I went through some exercises and started expanding my vision and felt called to step up in a way that would require me to bring in at least seven figures this year. And so I knew that the dollar amount, that low six figure, like $10,000 to $15,000 months, that was a result of my way of thinking. I knew enough to know, I didn't know what the seven figure way of thinking was, but I knew enough to know that the dollar amount I was bringing in every month was a direct reflection of my way of thinking and my paradigm of the world, of the identity that I had taken on, which was a woman who brought in that amount of money but felt stuck and couldn't bring in any more. And I knew that if I wanted to bring in more and become the type of woman who has a 7-figure plus business, I needed to learn from another woman who had a 7-figure business so I could hear how she thought and I could get exposed to her way of thinking. Because I knew if I could just figure out how she thought and I could start to think those same thoughts and rewire my brain that way, that I would get that same result, which sounds simple, but it's actually true. That's how it works. So I felt intuitively called to work with a particular woman. Shout out to you, Kayla, if you're watching this. And I found out that working with her was $50,000. Now, I brought in about $120,000 all the previous year. There is nothing logical. There is nothing logical about investing $50,000 in a coach when you brought in $120,000 the whole last year. It does not make sense logically. However, my intuition told me so strongly that this was my next move that I decided to find a way to make it happen. And this is something big where the money does not show up until you make the decision. It doesn't. Once you decide, then your brain kicks into the mode of figuring out how to make it happen. But until you decide, you're in that kind of that wobble, that like back and forth. You're not privy to how to create the resources for what you want. So I made the decision that I was going to find a way to make this happen because I knew that making a big leap would require something that rocked me so totally out of my comfort zone that I would have no choice but to find a way to make it work. So I make the decision. I tell her I'm going to do it. I say, I don't know how the money's going to come, but I'm going to figure it out. And then the hows start coming to me, right? The hows start coming through a combination of credit cards and savings. So, but here's the key thing that I want you to take from this is in this process, I consulted with two people about what I was doing because I knew that anyone else who I talked to or got the opinion from would tell me it was crazy. They would say, that's a terrible idea. I have mentors, business partners, New York Times bestselling authors that would tell me it was a terrible idea because they have a different paradigm of the world. They have a different framework of leveraging debt. And I knew that they would tell me it was a terrible idea. But I went to people who I knew had created the same result I wanted to create, and I got their opinion. I told two people about it, and they both said, do you feel strongly called that this is the right path for you, that this is what you need to do? I said, yes. They said, does it feel like a yes in your body? I said, yes. They said, do it. And so I did it. And so why I'm sharing this, because then when I was able to get when I hired this coach and got in the energy of somebody who had what I wanted, in 6 weeks, I turned my annual income into my monthly income. And again, this is not about, some of you who are watching bring in way more money than me. Some of you who are watching bring in less. It's not about the dollar amount. It is about the message and the critical importance of guarding your mind and only getting opinions from people who have done what you want to do. Okay. So if you're on live, like pop in the comments what questions you have, because I've got some time this morning where I can help coach you on this. But I work with women now who they so desperately want the opinion of their parents, of their friends, of the news, right? And they go and they ask the opinions of these people who don't live the reality that they want to make. And this is something I'm so big on coaching them on. And I just felt called to come on and share this morning is you only want to ask for opinions from people who have what you want. So if your parents don't have what you want, or if the people who raise you don't have what you want, stop asking their opinion of what you're doing. If the people who you're surrounded by at work, in your business, in your parent group, whoever it is, if they don't have what you want, stop asking their opinion. It is no judgment on what they are doing, but it is merely, we need to let certain people serve the role they are meant to play in our lives. And so for me, like I love connecting with my parents and just like hearing what's going on in their life and hearing how they are and talking with them about that. But I don't typically share the moves I'm making from a business standpoint because it's just different. or certain friends. Like I connect with them on more of a friend level, not on a business level, because we're on two different paths there, and that's okay. But so it is critical that you only get opinions from people who have what you want. You need to stop watching anything negative. This is so important, especially when you're going for a big quantum leap. You've got to shut off anything that makes you doubt or question yourself or feel negative in your body. That includes the news. If something is important enough for me to find out about, someone tells me. That's how I've operated for a while, because I noticed when the election was going on last year, I started watching the news more. Hey, Jason, how are you? I'm glad you're here. I started watching the news and I started to go into panic about it. And I was like, oh my gosh, our country's falling apart, blah, blah, blah. And I started to sink into a lower negative state in my body. Your emotions, what you feel at any given point in time, tell you exactly where you are energetically. So everything is energy. And I'm doing a free series all April about this, which is going to be really good if you want to dig into this deeper. Because I used to think this stuff is like hooey. What is this like? This stuff doesn't make any sense. I've studied it deeply and I've experienced it, and I can tell you it's true. Everything is energy, and how you feel. Everything is energy. Everything is vibration. The amount of money you want to bring in, the health you want, whatever it is, it has a frequency to it. Okay. It has a frequency to it. Hey, Matt, how are you? I'm glad you're here. If this is the Matt Davis, I think it is, then your wife, Allison, would love this stuff. The way you feel, your emotions determine your frequency at any given time, which determines what you're an energetic match for. So in this world, in the place where we live, you don't get what you want, you get what you are. I'm going to say that again because that's important. You don't get what you want, you get what you are. And what you are is the combination of what you're thinking about and what you're feeling at any given time. And your emotions tell you your point of attraction. So if you are which is going to bring in more things at that same level and frequency. So if you are feeling scared, fearful, constrictive, anxious, you are an energetic match for more of those things to come in to match that experience. It's a universal law. It's a law of vibration. Okay. So you are an energetic match. So you have to be careful that whatever you're watching, whatever you're listening to, if it makes you feel, when you start to really get in touch with this stuff and you start to become present at every moment of how do I feel in my body, you start to notice what you're a match for. Okay. So when you watch the news, what is the news designed to do? It's designed to create fear in you because that's what sells, because that's our animal brain that wants to like constantly be on the guard and like get scared of what's going on. So the news is always going to make you feel bad. It's actually how it's designed. So that's why you have to shut it off. Okay. Gossip TV. Like I used to be a big Bachelor fan and I would enjoy that. I really don't watch it anymore because I notice if I watch it for long enough, I start to feel like anxious because I pick up on the emotions of the men or women who are on that show. Horror movies. I used to love scary movies. I used to love scary podcasts. That was like my thing. We listened to that and watched that growing up. I loved it. I was like, I'm such a big, scary movie buff. Nothing anymore. I don't, because it's not worth it, because it actually will lower the vibration in your body. So you become an energetic match for things in your real world that create fear, scarcity, lack. And that is, I couldn't get this for so long. And I was like, that doesn't matter. At least like what I put in, or I wouldn't say it to myself, but like I say, it doesn't matter. Like what I put in my mind and the movies I watch, the TV I watch, it has nothing to do with my reality. It has everything to do with your reality. It has everything to do with your reality, because when you put that stuff in your mind, the emotion that you feel becomes your vibrational point of attraction, which brings in things to match that, to confirm for you, yes, this is the reality we're living in. So I'm just looking at comments. Richard's saying, I totally agree with going to people who have succeeded at what you want to do. Yes, I love it. Oh, John, good afternoon from Zimbabwe. I'm so glad you're here. That's great. We've got an international audience. Megan, good morning. I'm so glad you're here. How are you? How's baby? Tina, oh, thank you so much. Yes, I don't do gossip or drama. Yeah, I used to love that stuff. And I just enjoyed it. And it was my my way of like relaxing at the end, quote unquote, relaxing at the end of the night, chilling out. I turn on The Bachelor. Y'all, I'm a PG movie person now. Like I will watch a PG movie that's funny, that makes me feel good, that's like family friendly. And it's not just because we have Jack now, it's because I notice how stuff makes me feel in my body, and everything is programming. Every single thing you pay attention to is programming you. Your brain is just a big supercomputer, and what you put into it and then what you emotionalize around it will create your reality. It will. So you have to be so careful about what you put in your mind. When I had made that commitment to work with this coach, but the outer results hadn't happened yet in my world, and I was like, oh man, I'm like 50 grand in debt now, and I don't know, like I don't know how the money's going to come in, yada yada. I got so focused on what I paid attention to. And I only consumed content from a very small list of people that helped me stay in that level of frequency that I knew was going to bring in the results I wanted. So I'll share with you the people who I follow and pay attention to online, because this stuff is so important. So Bob Proctor, I'm a huge Bob Proctor person. So I follow Bob Proctor. I follow Dr. Joe Dispenza. If you're really interested in what's the actual science behind what I'm talking about this morning, follow him, study him. It's incredible work. My girlfriend, Allison Chavez, she's amazing. Follow her. She's one of the two people I went to when I decided I was going to make this coaching investment. Her brand's all about prosperity. It's amazing. And then who else? There's one more. I'm blanking on it. Well, Kayla Craft, who's my personal coach and mentor right now. But those are like, that's it. That's what I pay attention to. Everything else I shut off, because it is all programming you to create the results you want. So I wanted to just hop on this morning and share this, because this is so important. And I know a lot of you right now, like you're just with media, right? And what we consume, there's so much fear. There's so much scarcity. There's so much just stuff that's designed to make you question yourself and feel nervous. And you have to shut that off. You have to. It's not worth it. It is not worth it. I wrote this note on a Post-it note last week, because I found myself getting into some scare and fear-city thinking. And it says, nothing and no one are worth sacrificing my vibration for. So it's like nothing is worth it, because that determines what comes in to your reality. Okay. So I just wanted to pop on and share that this morning. If you have questions on it, send me a DM. And again, I'm doing a free series all April on like, how do you dig deep into this stuff? And it's actually about how do you release resistance to what you want? Because anything that you want, you can have. But if you don't have it yet in your life, what that means is there's some level of resistance around you getting it. And that usually shows up as a limiting belief. I can't have this. I'm not worth it, whatever. So I'm doing a whole series in April. I'm just going to be going live, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, 8:00 every Monday through Thursday night, and just sharing, how do we release the resistance to what we want? Because when you can release that, and you can start to feel worthy of what you want, and you can start to reprogram your mind to create what you want, and you can start to move up energetically into a higher level of vibration that draws in the things you want, everything changes, and it can change fast. Just like I shared for you my own story, it can change, and it can change fast when you learn this stuff. Okay. And this is more important than any sales script, any closing strategy. Like I'm working with sales teams a lot right now, where they're like, what's the script? What do we say to close more clients? And while you can always improve that, if there's a subconscious program running that tells you that you're not worthy of receiving clients, that you're not worthy of making more money, it does not matter. It does not matter how good the tactical script is, whatever. You're not going to do it. You're going to self-sabotage, because you're going to create the reality that matches the program that you have running. So that's why this is so important. So join me. I'm going to be kicking off on Monday night, this upcoming Monday, the 5th, 8:00 Eastern, on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram. And I'm going to be going through this series on how to release resistance to what you want. So I invite you to join me there. I am so glad for those of you who join live. Megan is saying, thanks for the tips on who to follow. What are some of your top book suggestions? Okay. Oh, I've got so many. So Dr. Joe Dispenza, Becoming Supernatural, if you're interested in the science behind this. What else? I've been reading Catherine Ponder lately. She does all the, do I have, so I've got, this is one of her books. She writes about dynamic laws of prosperity, but she also writes about, like, right now I'm healing some stuff in my body. So dynamic laws of healing is a good one, but that's more about health. She wrote Dynamic Laws of Prosperity, The Millionaire from Nazareth. So it's also really interesting if you've got like a Christian upbringing, but part of your upbringing was around like scarcity or lack, or it's greedy to have money. So she's got a really interesting perspective on wealth and millionaires of the Bible, which are really interesting. Megan, I know you're in Allison's program, so obviously her book is amazing. I just finished reading that. What else is on my shelf? Wayne Dyer. Wayne Dyer is amazing. And the series I'm going to be doing all April is based off of Abraham Hicks, Ask and It Is Given. That's who else I followed. Abraham Hicks this whole time really helped me shift my mindset and thinking, and I still listen to a lot of Abraham Hicks now. But the whole, get recentered here on Instagram, the whole April series is based off of that book, Ask and It Is Given by Abraham Hicks. So I hope that helps. Do you guys have any other questions? I've got like one more minute before I'm hopping off to do a private client call. If you've got questions, I'm available for them. Otherwise, send me a DM and definitely join me. Join me for our April series. It's going to be amazing. Would love to have you there. All right. So much love. Wishing you a beautiful day. And I just remember, guardrails. Your mind is so precious. It's so important. Ramil is saying, any other book suggestions on controlling your mind or something similar? Yeah. I think I would say Bob Proctor is one of the best at teaching this stuff. So I would say any of his books, him and Wayne Dyer are what's showing up for me. And then again, if you're curious about like the actual neuroscience behind it, definitely Dr. Joe Dispenza, because he's one of the best. Yeah. You're so welcome, Megan. You're so welcome. All right, guys. Lots of love. Have a fabulous Friday. I'll see you soon. Bye.